Okay, so these are the bullets that I made the last few days, and those cartridges that I have trimmed, processed, and ready to go. In fact, there's one already in there ready to go. So depth is already set, or length rather, for the shell. So it's a little tricky because they're a little bit touchy getting your fingers on there. There's not a lot of space. So referring back onto our chart again, we have overall length cannot be more than 0.982. Okay, so what do we have? 0.978, and that's plenty fine. That works just perfect. In we go. Okay. So one of the nice things about doing a tray like this, I can scan right across my powder and make sure that for whatever reason my measurement is not off. Visually I can see it, because the volume should all be very, very similar. And if it's not, then you have to go, is my measurement off? What's going on? Can't have that. So this is how I do it. A lot of times I have, rigid containers of whatever kind, a box or whatever. This time I'm just using this plastic bag I was sorting out of earlier. But everything's prepared, and actually I've been kind of working toward this off and on. Trimming 500 on a lathe is time consuming, so it takes a while to get there, and I can do several hundred before my back starts saying I don't like this anymore, I'm going to do something else. So I just work at a comfortable pace when I feel like it, in between killing Black Ops zombies, and I come out here and reload some ammunition, because if I'm not killing zombies I might as well be making bullets, right? And what the heck? So anyway, pretty sweet looking cartridge there, huh? So that's a 9mm Luger. It's trimmed down to the 9x18 Makarov length. Rim size, of course, I don't do anything with that. Don't have to. The bullet is actually bigger. If you look at the dimensions of this bullet, it's actually, 365. And if you're looking at 9mm or 38 or 357, those are all going to be 355, 356. So my bullet is actually fatter than the standard 9mm. It's actually kind of in between the 9mm and 40. And so, if you look at the rim dimension at the back end of the cartridge, if you compare it to the original factory rim size of the Makarov, yes, the Luger is a little bit smaller. It doesn't cause any problems whatsoever in extracting or feeding or any of that stuff. So not an issue there at all. See, there's an aluminum. Pretty looking shell, huh? It's got a nice new primer in the back of it. Looks super. No hesitation to shoot that whatsoever. Will that shell survive to go a second loading? Probably not. Do I care? Nope. I really don't. I'll pick up all my brass ones, and I will check the aluminum ones. If I can reuse them again, I will. But I would say 75% of the time, the aluminum ones blow out. That they crack. And some people would get alarmed and say, boy, I better not shoot that. I've shot them. It's not been an issue thus far. So I'm really not all that concerned about it. And I'm going to continue to shoot them because, if you look at the mix of shells, or cartridges rather, that I find, I get a high percentage of aluminum as I pick up nowadays. I get a lot of brass, but I get a lot of aluminum. And aluminum are very fast to process because they probably take a quarter of the time to trim them, just because it's that much softer. And so it's like kind of a joy rather to trim down the aluminum, whereas the brass, it's like, oh my goodness, you really start going through those little trimmers from Lee. And I haven't kind of gotten a sense yet of how many in quantity one trimmer will do on the average before it's worn out. In aluminum, it'll do a lot, and it's a lot easier on my body. It's a much more simple, more enjoyable than doing the brass. But you only have to trim them once so far that I've been shooting. And not to say that I wouldn't check them, throw them back in the mix and check them later. But even if they did need to be trimmed up again later, I don't think it's all that much of an issue, because you're not going to be trimming off much. I mean, it's going to be like a hair, just be like a non-issue. Whereas when you're first doing it, they really take a while sometimes. And if your cutter's getting dull, cutter gets dull over time, and you don't really notice just how dull it's getting. And pretty soon it's like, man, I'm really having to lean into it in order to get it trimmed out. See, there's a nice brass shell right there. Nice looking bullet, set to depth. All is well. Here's an aluminum. We'll do the same thing. Oh, just dropped the projectile. I'll have to pick that up. And so, nice looking aluminum. Now, when I pick these up out in the woods, I put them in the shaker with some media. First thing, with all the brass I find, and get them cleaned up. Myself, I'm not worried about bright polish. I just want all the crap off them. So, my stuff doesn't have a high gloss to it, but I don't really care. I just want that crap off. I don't want any dirt, no debris, no chunky anything. I want all that crap off. And as long as I do that, they seem to work just fine. That one felt a little bit sticky, and that's not normal, but it felt like the bullet started going in a little funny, so we're going to set it aside. You could peel that lead off the outside or pull the bullet and then redo it, one or the other, because maybe it wasn't expanded quite right or something, or maybe there's a problem with the projectile, I don't know. And that one is feeling it's hanging up, so it's got that little ridge down there on the bottom, and that's just enough to cause us a problem. Don't want that crap going on. So there's another nice brass projectile, bullet casing, cartridge, whatever. And by the time I get done with this batch, I'm not sure how many's in this one, but we got to be creeping up on a couple of thousand rounds of Makarov on hand. And I think we bought, as far as brass, I think we bought about 500 empty casings to process. Originally, my wife got me some for my birthday, I think it was, or Christmas. Just because, she knows I like doing it. And, of course, our supply to be able to go out and plank and teach the kids and stuff was getting kind of down there. I had, like, I don't know, my magazine's full, and maybe 2 or 3 little military style boxes of, like, I don't know, were they 24 to a box, 2 or 3 of those left. And so it's like, I was really starting to feel like a miser not being able to shoot the pistol that I like the most, and I just don't like that. I don't want to have to worry about it. And so, that's definitely part of what motivates me, is to say, we're going to have more than what we need, and we don't have to worry about it. I think it's the same theory people have with money. I mean, it's like, if you have plenty, you don't have to worry about not having it, have more than you need, and you don't have to worry. And it's the same thing with ammunition. And the way I look at it nowadays, it's like a savings account anyway. If you're going, at some point, the guns are kind of no value, but the ammunition, when there was no ammunition on the shelf, there were still guns, and all the guns that were there were of no value because you couldn't get any bullets to go in them. And not only could you not get loaded cartridges, you couldn't get any 22s, you couldn't get any handgun ammunition, you couldn't get any reloading components, or you couldn't get any powder. It was all gone. Everybody bought it. There was no primers to be had. I didn't like that. So, put some away and don't worry about it. And other people think that they have some ammunition because they have 50 rounds. Well, I'll tell you, that's, as far as I'm concerned, you're empty. You got nothing. And I just don't go for that. It's like, no, it'd be like saying, I got my car is, running around on fumes, and but I got plenty of gas. You're like, what? Are you out of your mind? So I can get another mile or two down the road to the gas station. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can't. I don't know, but it isn't going to be me. So back to the loading the cartridges with powder scenario. And this is what I do. Ooh, we got a little trim right there that's happened, a little burr when it went through the expansion. So this is where I charge them all. And then I have all of it set up, like I say, so I can view straight across. And it makes it really easy to tell whether or not something is undercharged. So that is not something we want. Overcharged would be potentially very dangerous. Undercharged would be really the worry with this particular gun is that it's not going to feed the magazine properly.